Well, it's wonderful to meet you, and I'm excited to talk to you about this project today. I understand this is kind of a special project because part of Marty Murray's vision for bringing it to life was that he wanted to give you a role where you could kind of expand and show a different side of yourself. So, what was that experience like getting to sort of tap into that character?
It was very, very fun and enjoyable for me because this movie, I'd worked with Al Bravo, the producer, on a movie called Do Justice the year prior and really enjoyed that work environment. There's some movies you do and you're like, it feels like work. There's other movies you do that you're like, man, this is a family.
Mhm.
And so when that movie was done, talking to Al and just picking his brain, very open about producing, I was like, hey, if you ever have another movie that would fit the Kellan vibe, let me know. And so he sent me Desert Dawn, that Chad Law, this writer, great writer. He's written a lot of these movies. He sent it to me and he's told me that Marty was going to be directing it and love Marty's work. And it it was really cool to I saw what they were trying to do. I felt like it was a good movie, and I was like, hey, I have some ideas. Would you be open to hearing them? And if you are, I'd love to do this movie with you. And so we just chatted, worked on the story a little bit more, worked on the character, added some nuances, and got it to a really great place. And we were going to cast it, and he mentioned Cam Gigande, which to play the deputy, the good role, which you don't know. You're always watching Cam thinking he's the bad boy, the bad guy. He's the one who's gonna kill Luke. But we got to play on the same side, the same team, which was quite the opposite from Twilight, right?
Mhm.
And having us both be against each other, and we only had the standoff and then the death scene of his character James. So it was nice to layer this movie with really interesting things. And then you have Nico and you have Chad Michael Collins in there, who's fantastic. Just really great actors, great story. And then there's some heavy layering in there, more dramatic side that puts light on some of the issues that our world has. There's evil out there. And so my character goes through these dangers and the mysteries of certain scenes and then comes out the other side with these revelations and he has peace at the end of it. So it's really I always like characters that have arcs to it that aren't just flat. And I really, really enjoy working with other actors and producers and directors who are wanting the best for the movie, that don't just phone it in, that don't just care, but everyone cared. They're like, it was a very open table. Hey, what about this? What about this? Trying to make the movie the best that it could. And that's what you have with the finished product.
Yeah, and as you were saying about the fact that you weren't just acting in this role, you were also helping to develop the story. And I wanted to kind of ask you about that and what that was like, because I understand you were not just working on your own character, but also sort of influencing how some of the other characters went. And it sounds like you said kind of an open table. Sounds like it feedback was welcome from people as they kind of worked on developing the roles, like they weren't just totally static.
Yeah, yeah. And Al, he has a great crew, great casting, Justin, casting director, Quincy. It's nice when you just trust people to do their job and to get great actors in there. I've done projects where actors were cast that weren't actors. And
Mhm.
it didn't turn out well. I'm not saying that normal people can't act, but there's a difference between someone who, like, when you just read the lines or you act the lines and there's feeling to it. So having the story, and then you get somewhere, right? Like even the last climactic scene in the movie, there was supposed to be a rooftop scene, kind of
Mhm.
like Die Hard, like this big climax, stuff's happening, a lot of action on the roof. But because it's in the script, if you try and emulate that with your location, your set location, but there's no roof, it was very anticlimactic. I'm like, guys, we can't just have it like this. We just built up this whole movie this is going to fall so flat. Let's get creative. And then people are throwing ideas out there. Well, what about this, this, and this? And then you only have 6 hours to shoot. So you get the best of what you can. And it turned out really great. Same with the dialogue, same with certain scenes. So it was really great working with Cam on that and Chad. And yeah, it was just a fun process.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's incredible that you were able to roll with the punches. It doesn't come across like this was a film where you like had location changes or things like that that you had to deal with. And just goes to show that when you have people who are really committed to the project and they're working with what they have instead of like just phoning it in, as you were saying, how you can get an amazing finished product, like no matter sort of what the situation is leading up to it, right?
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Well, even some things you would get, you would read the script and it would be like, how did my character get from here to here so quickly from this? Like, you can read something, but when you're shooting it, and if there's holes in the script, you're like, guys, I really think we need a shot of Luke driving, or you
Mhm.
need a shot like it's going from day to nighttime. You need a transition piece. And Marty was really great with that. And a lot of times we'd have second unit going and be like, hey, Kellan's coming over. Let me just hop in the truck. Let's just shoot me for 30 minutes. So you have me in daytime and nighttime and you can transition things. So it was really, really fun to work like that.
Yeah, yeah, it sounds like it would be. It sounds like it'd be very rewarding. Hard work, but rewarding. I just want to end on one final question, going back to what you're mentioning about the themes in this movie and how it addresses some really heavy topics. You know, you have some very difficult scenes in this movie. They're extremely emotional, and you really feel it when you're watching it. And I wonder for you, what is that process like? Like, do you leave the set feeling really emotionally drained? Like, how do you manage that?
Well, the body never forgets, right? The body remembers. I remember someone who had to fake a choke scene, and your body's it doesn't know that it's a fake choke scene. And I think it was who it was or what, but her body like really she messed up her body just by acting like she was choking.
Hmm.
And so your body remembers
Yeah.
everything. You can't fool it.
Hmm.
And you can try and forget it mentally, but your body will remember. And so whenever you have emotional scenes, you try and like there's some people who are super method, there's some people who are more, you use your imagination and it's still to do it justice, you try and put yourself in that scenario and you create that experience. But yeah, when it's emotional, you feel it. Your body feels it. And when you have to do take after take after take, move the camera, do another take,
Mm,
you're spent.
I
And a
bet.
lot of times I'm such a happy person on set, but I am not the person. There's some actors who can just turn it on, right? Michael
Yeah.
Caine. Michael Caine, he can be reading his newspaper and then they'll yell action and he'll step in and and be super dramatic. For me, it's like I prep the crew. I just
Yeah.
say, hey, I love you guys. You guys know me. I'm super happy. I'm gonna be pretty solemn today because
Yeah.
today is the death scene or the loss scene or the crying, the emotional, and they all know that. So people give me tons of grace. I'm still, kind and, not a dick or anything like that, but I
Yeah.
might be quiet unless because I want to stay there mentally.
Yeah.
And that's helpful for me not to jump in and out of the emotions. I feel like that's abuse for my mind and body to
Yeah.
do that. But yeah, it's great. And then also having a daughter myself and dealing with my sister in this movie, there's something about a female. I grew up with a lot of boys. I would kill for them. It's my brothers are boys, but having a daughter myself, there's just a purity there that when there is something like it going on in this story, you're just like, it takes you to another level. Maybe it's because men can out outpower women. I don't know. It's just or whatever they deal with and boys deal with it too, but it just pisses me off, right? And that's that fighter in me. That's that I want to fight against the injustice and the monsters. So yeah,
Uh,
thank you so much.
I love that. I think that's a great place to wrap. Well, thank you so much. It's lovely to meet you and excited to share this with our readers. So thank you
Yeah,
so much. You have a lovely day.
thank you. See ya.
Thank you. Bye.